nothing left for me to hate, so I can lay me down. My brothers on the ground, I bled today until Coyote comes to raise me up and carries me away to go. Leave me, run like you never did. No, believe me, run like you never run before.
Hello, welcome to the Scottish Rugby Podcast. Apologies in advance if you happen to catch. If you're joining us live, we are still in pre-season mode, it seems. We're still working out our patterns, making sure we're getting those pods of three sorted, all the dodgy calls. Iain, magnificent. Great to have you along, Iain.
What did I do? What happened?
Never mind. That is show business, Iain. Just keep it
No,
going. You're fine.
Seriously, what did I do?
Check the private chat.
Oh, wait, hang on. So,
that
doesn't help.
Apologies to anyone offended by sweary words. We are obviously not on our Patreon. And Ian's racking his brain just now. Hey, there's the light bulb.
That's fine. That's 12A, man. That's all right.
12. Anyway, as you may have heard, I'm joined tonight by Iain Hay. Iain, how the hell are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Although befuddled by apparent swearingness. I was actually thought I was going to have to apologise for being off camera because I found a bit of food stuck in my teeth just at the end of the song. I managed to get it out with a sticker of some band that I don't know that I got sent.
Fantastic. Well, that is the ingenuity.
Delta Bats. Do we know the Delta Bats?
Delta Bats, Jonny. That sounds right up your street. No,
yeah, it does a bit, but no.
No. That's the ingenuity that this podcast brings to you. Not only do we give you the quality rugby chat, but we also teach you how to use band stickers to extract half-eaten dinner from your teeth. We're also joined tonight by the returning McGinty himself, Jonny. Welcome. How the hell are you, sir?
I'm good. Yeah, better for being here with Ian's calamity of errors already.
One's barely a calamity.
It does.
We're all about compounding error around here. It's like the Scottish way. This is why it's a Scottish Rugby podcast.
We are the true embodiment of Scottish rugby. Yeah. We take errors and we double down on them. Yeah. So
the line out's been squint and then we've given away a penalty.
Exactly. Well, that is the Ian Hay way.
Ian Way.
You've got me in it. That's the podcast title right there. So welcome those that are joining us. Welcome. Good to have you along. We are, of course, on the Scottish Rugby blog. If you feel free to come along, join us on any of the podcast channels that you usually use. We are on pretty much everything, I think. Please feel free to leave us a 5-star review. Don't leave us a dodgy review. We've got a few of them, but we've also got some love from you guys. It's great to have those reviews, and it does apparently help us out on the algorithm and let other people experience the absolute carnage that is this podcast. Which
do we have to mark this one as explicit now already on Apple Podcasts? Because
no. I will edit that out after this. That is just a special treat for our live viewers.
Well, you know what it is? You know what's right at the start? so it's easy to get.
Yeah, you know how we always keep like a timesheet of the squares that we have to mark. I don't think we've ever had like 0.01 before.
Oh, that is a new record.
Wait a minute. I got the blame for you saying something about you swearing about golf and how somehow this managed to get the blame shoved onto me.
No,
just
this
because
was
I
definitely
asked.
you this time, pal.
Yes,
That was definitely
this one was definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you should tell me we were going live. You didn't tell me we were live.
Okay, sorry I didn't hold your hand. I'll remember that next time, buddy.
Well, seeing as if someone's running the show, then we could have done.
Well, I am a pale imitation of our divine leader. Hopefully, we will have him back at some point soon. But if you are enjoying what you're hearing and you want more, you can get more. Why would you want more? Yes, Johnny.
If you're enjoying what you're hearing, why?
Yeah. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, there's probably questions. But you can also take those questions and then come along to patreon.com and come and give us a little bit of your hard-earned cash. £3 a month will get you subscription to the Scottish Rugby Podcast, and you can get all the exclusive content, including our famous Hands in the Ruck section, where the boys will cut loose a wee bit. There will be some swearies, some other swearies, and we will kind of put the world of rugby to rights. We also do exclusive content. We've got an interview coming up the Iain himself has done. We'll be releasing that very soon for the Patreons exclusively initially. But yeah, come along. If you want to support us, it'd be great. We're very grateful for anyone that chooses to support us. We've also got a super secret Facebook page where you can come along and hang out with like-minded souls and chew the fat over the curd of Scottish rugby if you so desire. But we are... Oh, Iain, point of order.
That interview that Ian's done himself, it's not just me interviewing myself like Clint Eastwood in the chair. There are other people.
That was the sales pitch, dude.
I'd pay my £3 a month for that, to be honest.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I'm on Patreon just now, and literally like hundreds of people have just subscribed, going, Iain has gone mad talking to himself. This has potential. So, yeah, if you want to see Iain talking to himself, we can make that happen. But the interview is not that, sadly. Although I'll do the
accents and I'll do accents and everything.
He'll do it all. This is veering a little bit into OnlyFans, isn't it? Like we're getting Iain, we're kind of pimping Iain out a wee bit to do all his famous voices.
See, this kind of stuff that people hate. Should we talk about rugby?
We should talk about rugby, yeah, absolutely. So we are still in pre-season, and we thought we missed you guys so much last week. We thought we would come along and say hello. Tonight we're going to have a wee look at the pre-season fixtures, including some quite funny business from the East End itself. We'll have a wee talk about the pro strips which have been released, and we'll just have a general chit chat about rugby, where it's at, and we will go on to our Patreon only bit, and we'll have a Hands in the Ruck where we can rant and rave about some things. Does that seem like a fair agenda, boys?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
Yes, sorry, I was on mute for a second.
Iain, pick a number, but 1 or 2. I'm putting my hand behind my back. 1 or 2?
2, please.
2, right? Okay, it is number 1. We are going to talk about the East Side first. Because obviously, if you'd got it right, we would have talked about Glasgow first. So, pre-season friendlies at the weekend there, we had Edinburgh up against the bold London Scottish. Obviously, not much to be taken from pre-season, aside from Edinburgh were losing the fixture when someone turned the lights out.
Not even just the lights, the alarm and everything.
So... Edinburgh have claimed that it was a member of the public who hit the alarm and has popped out. Now, we've had this at Scotstoun, so let's not cast stones. Admittedly, Glasgow were winning at that time when the alarm went off.
Even if you did cast a stone, it would have hit one of the pillars.
So, it being pre-season and all that, I want to do a bit of investigative journalism. Like, we are investigators in this group now. So, there has been a crime committed. As they say in the West Coast, there's been a murder. So, we are going to investigate that murder. We are going to come up with our suspects for the crime that was Edinburgh Rugby not getting the chance to redeem themselves against London Scottish. So, who's your first candidate, Ian? You done a bit of investigating into this earlier. Who have you got candidates wise?
I mean, I've looked on the old social medias because that's where everyone gets their information from now.
Absolutely.
And
Good
I think one possible candidate, even though he claims, I think he claimed he was working, the former beard of Scottish Rugby, Ian Wallace.
So he's claiming an alibi, but let's look at the facts.
Oh no, it was Manson was working, wasn't he?
Manson was
Mhm.
Yeah. Have you got a wee notepad there? Are you like proper like police detective in this? Have you got a wee notebook?
I've got so many notepads. It's like the stationery office around here.
So we're saying Wallace doesn't have an alibi.
I'll check that. Jonny, can you
check that alibi?
you
Jonny,
shed any light?
what do you think about the Wallace previous at Scotstoun? He was there for the fire alarm incident in Scotstoun as
you're
well.
Yeah.
No,
See, that's a pattern of behaviour now, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's what the BAU would be looking for.
Exactly. Yeah, we're seeing probable cause in that he doesn't like Edinburgh getting beat. So, I mean, if I was investigating this, if I was in charge of this investigation, I would definitely be saying, Ian, I think we need to get you in for some questioning here, sir, because I think it's clear. Jonny, I'll come to you next. There's other candidates. There's some left field stuff.
Yeah, do you know, I personally think that it was maybe a coded message for help from the original Flinty McStag. He broke free from the basement, but only long enough to smash the alarm before someone caught him.
Then he was quickly dragged back down to the bills.
He hoped a full evacuation would come to his rescue, but sadly not to be.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this. I watched it was a entrapment the other day, and I'm pretty sure that was the plot line of that as well. So, like, I can see that, and we hope the real Flinty is still out there. Thoughts and prayers. But yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. Flinty could have possibly went for it.
This is where we're really missing Cammy because he's gone full Zodiac on the whereas Flinty.
He has. He would genuinely. I would be concerned, right? So I know I've got a couple of things up on the wall behind me. In this instance, I'm fully expecting it would be like a full, like you see in those crime dramas where there's like a full board with like connections and pictures,
stringing pins.
Aye, and like there would be letters,
question marks, and red pen.
Absolutely, like mugshots of Flinty everywhere. I mean, we're going to call it. That's why he's not here. Let's be honest, right? He's currently he's on a detox program from his Flinty obsession.
That, or he's got like a deep undercover mission going on.
Well, we can't talk about that, Jonny. Let's.
Sorry, yeah. Oh no, he's definitely in rehab.
He's definitely in rehab. Yeah, that's
leading a crack team of mercenaries to free the Forget I even suggested that.
Nor has he started a fight club.
Cammy couldn't possibly be leading a crack team of mercenaries.
Definitely not. No, that's definitely not what's happening.
Definitely not. So, like, I mean, other probable suggestions. Magnus Bradbury has been mentioned. Like, just Magnus just rocking up and just, like, some would argue
like a leaving Frank.
Well, some would argue it's the most effective thing he's done in years.
Or did he fall over and bang his head on it?
This isn't very nice. But obviously we have to laugh. It's good that the alarm went off and no one was ever in any danger, and the game was abandoned, and it seems like everything was fine. And it's good to, it's kind of like, Jonny, you work in schools. It's like those early days of, when you're first in the door. It's new term, and you have to test the fire alarms. Maybe that's just what they were doing, and they forgot that there was a game on.
Maybe Magnus Bradbury's like Edinburgh's version of the people on the last day of 6 year who set the fire alarm off.
Yeah,
yeah.
But because he's been so far behind the play for most of the season, he's actually forgot that he's already left. I'm so mean. Poor Magnus. He gets it tight. Well, we'll come to Magnus later on
Edinburgh
because
bias.
I'm sure we'll come to Magnus later on because there has been some thermonuclear takes on the old Bradbury front. But yeah, I mean, in terms of preseason, obviously we can't really talk about the game. Not much can be taken from preseason other than you tend to see kind of players that you don't expect to get exposure to the pro game. Guys getting rewarded for decent Super Six sprint campaigns. Guys getting a wee bit of a run out. Generally, teams use about 30 to 35 players in preseason matches, so the fluidity isn't there. And again, you see fans kind of going, "Oh, they lost to London Scottish," and it's well. It is pre-season. It doesn't actually matter. It's just getting some miles in the
but
legs.
can we be clear about the fact that pre-season doesn't matter? These aren't really even proper games, and everything you said is completely true. But at the same time, that was funny.
It was really funny. I enjoyed it. I completely enjoyed it. But there's part of me that's trying to be balanced and enjoy it, whilst also being realistic. The part that bothers me about it is, and I don't know what the Edinburgh setup is, so don't email me, don't shout at me, Edinburgh fans, because I'm not going to respond to you. The part that bothers me is these pre-season friendlies, which are glorified training sessions for what they are, hilarious as it is that they lose. They're charging quite a lot of money for them. So that the prices for the tickets are quite high for what they are. Now,
How much are we talking about?
yes, you get to go and see some players, and you might. Well, have a wee look at the prices for the Glasgow game at the weekend. I know, and you can get a feel for what we're talking. But yeah, I mean,
See,
we're
it's just
not...
mirrors of the Scottish Rugby website's been sketchy as hell for the last week.
Yes, yeah, they have.
been,
Yeah.
been quite difficult. Yeah.
Even phone. I've tried to load up the Edinburgh page earlier to have
Right,
a good scratch at their new shops, and it's giving me this dodgy sort of. You've loaded this on a 56k. Somebody's picked up the phone, and all you can hear is
Yeah, it's
screeching
like
down
it's
at
all
someone.
like black and white in it. It seems to be.
Oh
a little
yeah,
bit
it's
more
there.
extreme.
That's quite cool. That's quite cool. You can't
Not if you try to
actually
use it for anything. It's not.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm like,
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
only for
actually see it.
fixtures.
This is
Wow.
kind of like I'm back in. Like, I feel like I'm back in youth club in like 2001 here.
You're about to go full MS DOS on this, aren't you?
I'm actually about to use a shortcut to pull up DOS to see if I can fix this. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we can't really find the price. So if anybody's watching and knows the prices, pop them up
I've just found the prices for Friday night.
for Friday for Glasgow.
Yep.
Yep, I do know these, so go for it.
Would you like to hear something that's going to, let's say, put your urine past a comfortably heated point? It would be
Poaching it.
it would be.
Approaching 90 to 100.
It's more expensive for one ticket to see Glasgow in a pre-season game on Friday night than it's going to be for me to take my entire family to watch the women on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
And Bruce Springsteen's doing the halftime show.
so I mean, you can go onto the Scottish Rugby pages, go into ticketing, and have a wee look at the ticket prices yourself. We are simply suggesting they maybe are not appropriate for pre-season, but of course the big season ticket holders, the guys who paid the big bucks, are going to get that as a freebie. Like Ian Hay there,
Yeah, because I'm
Captain
paying like 400 quid for a restricted view ticket, and
Captain Bling in the corner there.
circus tent.
Now, I think, I mean, it's good that you said circus tent and not gazebo, because let's be honest, like, unless you're talking about the hot dam, there's no gazebos in Glasgow. They all get blown down. So, yeah, I mean, the pricing's not great. The quality on... So I've watched the highlights of the Glasgow game. We'll come on. I haven't seen anything from Edinburgh. Have you guys happened to catch any of the footage, or has there been any footage? I don't know.
I certainly haven't seen any. I don't know if there has been any.
Did they just turn off the lights and forget that ever happened?
Yeah, it was an EMP pulse that went round the stadium and it completely
Yeah.
wiped. all
Sponsored by
records.
Wayne Enterprises. I'm pretty sure I've seen that movie too. Yeah, so we have seen footage from Glasgow. Glasgow, of course, travelled to Inverness. They were part of the Highland Centenary celebration, which was dampened slightly during the week with the news that Worcester, as we speculated would happen, were not going to take the field because of administration unpaid wages, and the Worcester players rightly utilised their right to not play, obviously thinking that if we are free of contract in 14 days, getting injured in a pre-season friendly in Inverness does not make me a terribly attractive player to a new club, which is absolutely the right. And, you know, if you don't get paid, you don't do your job. That's how it works. So Worcester had to sadly pull out the friendly, and Glasgow, at short notice, called up Super Six's own Ayrshire Bulls, the supposed aligned club to Glasgow in the Super Six, despite
Glasgow
anyone
in
who's
the
travelled from Kilmarnock and Ayrshire to Glasgow will know it is not an insubstantial journey. Ian, you've done it a few times.
Yeah, see, the last time I did it was the Bills, Bills Watsonian Super Six game Friday night, last Friday night. And so game kicked off 7:45. Finished speaking to both coaches by about 10. Went back to the car, picked up my match report. Back on the road for about 11:30, and then the M77 was shut.
Hey,
So,
I
yeah,
did see this on Facebook actually. You were 3 hours, weren't you?
No, that was getting back from work the other day when,
So
ironically,
yeah.
a bunch of
You've
hay
had-
bales fell on the M8. Yeah, basically, did not get. If I'm in the car, if you find out I'm in a car, don't get on the road because something terrible will happen. Nothing good will come of this.
This is also true if you actually take him in your car as well, because nothing good ever happens of that as well.
I actually remember we went down to sail away.
Sail away, sail
And-
away, sail away,
yeah.
sail away.
And even before I'd left Lanarkshire, someone tried to kill me.
Yeah, that's right. You nearly died, because I did wonder, because I was about 100 million miles ahead of you, and I wasn't. I mean, I was driving quickly, but I wasn't driving that quickly. I thought, I was like looking back, going, Ian is a really slow driver. I would not have guessed that. But actually, you had nearly got killed, and you were composing yourself. So yeah,
What
we
were you two
digress slightly.
doing driving all the way to Sale in two separate cars anyway?
It's because
People
Ian
like
was
you
going up-
that are people like you
Ian
are killing
was
the polar bears.
Ian was going. Yeah, I know there was polar bears. Like actually, Ian had a polar bear steak on the way down as well. No, Ian was heading on to London afterwards, and I didn't want to go to London.
I'll allow it.
And
So I
then
went
I
from
definitely,
Manchester to Bristol, then to London.
and after my antics, I really didn't want to go to London. I really didn't want to go anywhere. I wanted to stay in my bed. But yeah, we digress slightly. So Glasgow Ayrshire Bulls came north to come and play. Interesting, Glasgow picked a lot of the stars of the Ayrshire Bulls in their squad, which did seem like a bit of a dick move. Yes, I'm going to use that word.
They were Glasgow were putting players off the bench to play for the Bulls though by the end.
By the end, yeah, I know. During the game, yeah, they kind of realised the error of their ways and went, here, you have a shirt, on you go. So, no, I mean, what we've seen from the highlights is very little. George Horton can still run a support line in a shocking turn of events. Johnny Matthews scored from a maul, which sounds fairly predictable.
Shocking
Fraser
turn of
Brown
events.
still exists and also scored from a maul, and Ayrshire nearly won. And had Danny Wilson been in charge, they probably would have.
It did Ayrshire nearly win though, really, because from what I hear,
Yeah, it was like I think it was like
or if we get
22-3
it,
at like
yeah.
65 minutes, and then Glasgow started pouring Glasgow players onto the Ayrshire side.
Yeah, but you also remember 60 odd minutes is the Danny Wilson time, right? Like that's the time that Glasgow go, do you know what? We've got this wrapped up, boys. Let's go for a siesta, and promptly lose to everyone and sundry. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's pre-season. You don't. I'm obviously I'm joking, right? I think Glasgow probably they were on a hiding to nothing when the fixture changed. It's a hiding to nothing, but interestingly, people have spoken about, like, obviously Ayrshaw's performance. Like, the score in the end up did reflect well on Ayrshire. They competed well. From what we've seen from the highlights, they didn't look out their depth either. Which, given that we've talked about the Super Six and the chasm between Super Six and pro rugby, that's an encouraging sign, Johnny.
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of doing its job, I guess. Like, part of the idea of the Super Six is that Super Six players should be able to step up to the pro teams, and if they can step in at the last minute and kind of hold their own in a game against the pro team, then that's could only be a good sign, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And Iain, like, you've obviously looked at some of the, you've covered some of the Super Six, and you've been kind of closer to that part of Scottish rugby. Is it a surprise to you that Ayrshire were able to, maybe shorn of some of their starters, who then probably came and joined them midway through the match? Are you surprised that Ayr were able to compete quite the way they did?
Not massively, because I mean, now that Pat MacArthur's back, I mean, when he was there, he's as a hooker, he's obviously very keen on formation and organisation, and the forward pack. So he always wanted his team to be. He wants his team to be playing a full 80-minute, high intensity, good defensive game, and that's what like the Bulls Watts game the other week, which I thought was an absolute cracker. Right, the day after it, I went to cover a Hawks game, and the people at Hawks, one of the guys at Hawks, Alistair, I think his surname is Reed, he was like, "Yeah, I thought the game was terrible." I thought it was really good, because the physical intensity of it is very good. The structure and organisation is there, and you do get some absolute gems coming through. I mean, for example, Tom Jordan, now at the Warriors and started for the Warriors at 12. He was one of the standout guys in the first season. Then you had your likes of Yari Fantini, who's now Treviso or Benetton. I can't remember what they want to be called nowadays. And it was Tommy Everard. He went down to Jersey. So there's some damn good players in there. So I'm Jack Mann this season for Heriots, who previously been with Edinburgh, but had a lot of injury problems. He's been absolutely colossal at number 8. He's been making meters for fun. Like, he's like making meters like a fullback. So there's some, well, apart from Johnny.
Bro!
So there are some very good players.
Friends and family here, mate. Come on.
One guy that recently, and I know they rate him highly in the Ayr, he's made his first start a couple of weeks ago, and he started against Ross Simpson standoff. I think he's only 19. Looks like a baller. Yeah, really looks like a baller. And Cam Jones and Will Hunt, they were playing for Glasgow, I think, as well.
Glasgow, yeah. So Cam Jones has obviously jumped the queue a wee bit. He's kind of come in and usurped quite a lot of the guys that were in that position, hasn't he?
Jordan Lennox, for example, and was Caleb Cotterweg, was he at Stirling?
He was at Stirling, yeah.
So I know they'd been involved with the Warriors. But when I've seen Cam Jones a couple of times this year, very impressive. Pat MacArthur's got a good forward game going. They're tough to beat, and they have a wee bit of stardust in the back line. Jamie Shedden, big fan of him as well.
Jamie Shedden is bigger than some of our second rows. He is an absolute unit, isn't he?
It's like 6'3", 6'4", runs a great line. Hard as hell to tackle. It usually takes more than one guy to tackle.
It's always scary when you see wingers of that size. Like, it's just freaky to me. I still feel a bit weirded out by it.
Do you know what you just reminded me of that I did learn?
What?
From watching the bits and pieces of the Warriors game on Friday night. JP Dupria is an abnormally large man.
He is a absolute unit, isn't he?
Yeah. I feel like I was watching some of the warm-up stuff, and I was just like, he's too big. That is too large for one person.
Yeah, so weighing in at 122 kilograms, and which is not an insubstantial weight, let's be honest. And what height? We've got 2 meters 10 centimeters, so that's 6'10.5". Yes, that is large. That is Richie Gray height, but with 20 kilograms on him. Big.
But Richie Gray plus
Ridiculous.
Richie Gray, exactly. Richie Gray, if you really liked a bacon sandwich. But I mean, so yeah, the pre-season friendlies are what they are. And I think we've talked at length there about the players. I do wonder how important pre-season is going to be for Glasgow and Edinburgh moving forward with the way the URC is structured. Obviously, Scotland has its own unique challenge. Not unique. Ireland do the same, but they've got a conveyor belt of robots to replace players with. So Scotland has its own unique challenges that we actually, the URC doesn't go on international windows, apparently, but Scotland obviously have players in camp beforehand and afterwards. We have rest protocols. We centrally contract our players, so we look after them. So there's less, but there is still going to be less opportunities for young players coming through. I remember watching Scott Cummings in one of his first games for Glasgow. I remember seeing George Horn make his debut for Glasgow during, international windows. There's less chance for players to do that. So I do wonder if these pre-season friendlies, which we're kind of laughing at and saying, they're not really matches, are they? I do wonder how important they are. Or do you think, Johnny, it's more about the training now and, seeing players in the training paddock? Do you think that's more where managers like Franco Smith and Blair will make their call?
Yeah, I think pre-season games are probably a part of it, but there is just so much other stuff now. And there is the Super Six, like we've just talked about, so you will get the chance to see them playing, if not the same level, at least playing in full-bore matches in the Super Six teams that they're aligned to. And they do so much training. It's an opportunity to see a couple of bits and pieces, but I wouldn't put a huge amount of stock in it in pre-season. Yeah.
So looking to the weekend with the astronomically priced tickets, Edinburgh have got Benetton and Glasgow have got Ulster. So Ulster, were Ulster one of the teams? Like, I saw a few things online on that forum that shall not be named, Ian, about commenting on, I think it was a few of the Irish teams, their pre-season friendlies were on free to air, and it was all very exciting, because people who don't pay for their subscriptions had rugby in front of them, and but pre-season, obviously, we didn't get the games at the weekend. Do we think? So there's actually going to be coverage of the game this week as well. Actually, I think Glasgow are utilising a new, is it Recast? I believe is the name of the company that will be screening the game.
Something about this. It's like £2 to watch it.
Yeah. So apparently, Recast is a new type of streaming service that will essentially, like, you can watch it it's free to join, and you can apparently watch games, and you can build up credits with adverts if you so desire, if you want to sit and watch Candy King adverts until you get your £2. Brilliant, batter in, not judging anyone for that. But they're also, you pay for tokens which then you redeem for a game, which is quite interesting.
Okay.
And they also do other content where you redeem. It's almost you redeem for a set period of time. So like you redeem for X minutes of a thing, which is quite cool, and it's slightly different. I know from reading the sales pitch, Manchester City are involved with it. They've utilised it, and some other teams, and apparently it's pretty fast growing. So. Potential challenger to Premier Sports, Ian?
Is it?
I'm asking
you could, yeah, well, just like you were saying,
watch
like
British fencing.
Can you watch British fencing, Ian? Like that's
I'm on their website
as
right now.
NASCAR. Which
I prefer Slovakian fencing.
Well,
they made it a real art.
If you put in a request, I bet they could get you some Slovakian fencing.
That's cool, man. I've got a Fire Stick. Get dodgy links. But just when you were saying, it's new technology, it's like, yeah, but so are NFTs, and they're a dreadful idea.
Yeah, it did kind of put me in mind of NFTs is the way you were talking about it. Although it seems to be something totally different. I think it's just because it's like new things I don't understand.
It's
mythology.
so the term token.
So-
I think we have to get
Yeah.
away from the idea
So-
that token is purely NFT. It's not an NFT token. It's you buy tokens
Credits.
to redeem credits. Yeah, let's call it credits.
Reward points. It's like a nectar card. Like, so you watch some
it's
adverts
like-
and they give you nectar points, and then you
It's
can
like
watch.
when you go to the arcades and you spend all that money and you get those wee tickets, and then you have to redeem them for a crappy price.
Yeah, you spend like 800 quid.
It's
when
like
you get
that,
£3.
but a bit better value.
Talking arcades, have you been to that NQ? We can talk about this off camera. NQ64.
Let's talk about that off camera. But yeah. But anyway, Recast will be getting used at the weekend, so let's.
They're streaming esports as well. I'm out. I
Whoa!
philosophically disagree with the concept of esports.
Whoa! Easy up, Tiger.
That's John's thing.
We
I
need to
know.
have a chat.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Oh my goodness, you are at it, McGinty. I mean, I'm hovering.
That's his
on the
racing
kick
chair he's
button.
sitting in right now.
I'm hovering on the kick button right
He's
now.
had to move
You
his
are-
steering wheel out of the way just to get.
It's over there. So
I
shut
don't
up.
mind it if you call it computer games, but don't pretend that it's a sport.
I mean, I have sweated quite vigorously playing those esports. Vigorously, McGinty. Vigorously. Right, so anyway, pre-season, we don't really care. We'll see some players. Probably be a better hit out this time out. And then the guys will be obviously building to the first fixture of the season, which we're very excited about because Glasgow are going to absolutely cuff their Italian opponents. And Edinburgh have got the easiest season in history to start with.
I believe that as a possible bonus for Glasgow, but I'd say a loss to the URC as a whole. Monty Ioane is leaving
Yes.
Benetton.
That's a very good point. Yeah, let's
Wonderful player.
discuss that slightly. I believe it's mental health issues as well. He stated that he's struggling and he's in Australia because he's an Australian national, and he stated that he needs to be with his family and he needs to stay there, and he's struggling mentally and he just needs to be there. And fair play to it must be that to me is such a powerful thing that a club like Benetton, club that have not traditionally been that successful, club that most clubs should be
Rainbow
targeting
Cup
for.
champions.
Shut
Yeah.
up! Honestly, I'm going to ban that phrase here. Like, get tea.
Now that we're on to something more serious, I've had to come off the Recast website because I was busy. I was distracted reading about the American Ultimate Frisbee Championships,
I know,
which they're
it's-
also showing.
I'm down with that as well. No, I mean it's an incredibly powerful decision for a club that it shows the manner of the man as well to be able to stand up and say that he needs that, but also the fact that Benetton have backed that and said, you know what, no, you're absolutely right, release you from the contract. How many times have we seen players after the piece come out and say, I've been struggling and I was held to contracts, I was moved, pillar to post, blah, blah, blah. I think overall it's just an incredibly good, it's a good news story for treatment of rugby players. Obviously, we wish the absolute best to him because incredible rugby player and for what it seems like a very, very decent person, and we hope he recovers and gets all the help he needs and is happy in his life very, very shortly. But very good of Benetton to kind of support that as well, and I think that's a great sign. I just part of me kind of wonders, like, with the way professionalism has changed rugby, and I'll come at you first on this, Iain, like the way professionalism has impacted rugby and the way you see the growing creep of the desperation of results to have what is fundamentally, like, let's be honest with Benetton, Ione is one of, if not their best player. To have a player like that back out and say, I can't do this, on the back of Michael Hooper, who is probably Australia's best player, doing the same, is this the turning point for rugby where we actually accept that mental health issues are incredibly important and we actually respect people for doing that?
Unfortunately, I don't think it will be reflected across the board. But I mean, this thing with Yanni, this is a man at the peak of his powers right now. But is he 27, 28?
Yep, he's in his prime.
Yeah, but obviously he feels like he needs to go home and recharge. And I think not only mentally it will do well, physically it will do well. To give him this break, in what is an extremely attritional sport, it'll let him completely sort of let some certain things heal, like physically, and also if it's going to help him feel sort of heal emotionally, psychologically, it'll be for his benefit in the long run. He might get another couple of years out of his career if that's what he wants. But ultimately, as you say, it's about his happiness and what he's comfortable with. But I like I said, I don't think it will be reflected across the board. I think this is it's a great move by Benetton. I doubt other clubs will be so forward thinking.
Yeah. I think the thing is that, like, you're right enough in what you say about, Benetton are not historically a very successful team, and he's probably one of their best players. I think if he played for Leinster and he was one of their best players, it might be a little bit different. Like when you Benetton, him leaving Benetton is not going to be the thing that costs Benetton the URC, because Benetton probably weren't going to win the URC anyway, even with their best player. Whereas if you're the best player on a team that might win the URC, you've probably got significantly less chance of them just ripping your contract up.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that comes down to like the determination of what is success, and is it success at all costs? And actually, it's funny because we've often talked part of so I know like Edinburgh fans, like, shout at me if you want, right? But I don't care. There was lots of talk with, and I remember it because Tommy Seymour quoted it when he was signing his contract at Glasgow, a new contract when he was expected to leave, signing a new contract when he was at the height of his powers. And part of the reason he signed was, I get looked after. I get looked after in this. And I do wonder, like, yeah, you talk about getting physically looked after. That's the next... and obviously we've covered this in other podcasts, and we'll not go into that just now. But that is the next step for unions and for clubs to be able to promote themselves as an attractive place. Because let's be honest, right? See if you're a mid to high range rugby player, and you've got your pick of clubs. The salaries are all going to be relatively similar. It's much ado about nothing, really. You're trying to pick places. So either you are a guy who wants to go and pick a place that I want to go and win titles, which if you're a mid to high player, are you going to get that chance to go and play at those teams? Possibly not. The ability to prolong your career, if that's what you desire, and do it in a healthy way where your mental health's been looked after as well, is going to be so incredibly important. I think you will start to see over the next wee while clubs really promoting that side. And actually that ties in beautifully with a little promo we will be doing. We're going to be promote. So those of you who will remember, I'm laughing. This is a really serious topic, but those of you will remember that we made our live podcast debut over at Portobello Rugby Club in the Six Nations. Iain and Jonny were both there. We all embarrassed ourselves with pints. It was magnificent. It was a great day. Porty have kept in touch. Really, really good club, and they're doing some really innovative things with mental health. They've reached out to the podcast. We're going to be talking to them soon, and we're going to be promoting it. We're going to tie it in with World Mental Health Day, so we'll be really looking at this topic in depth around that time. But yeah, it's just incredibly important that we continue to talk about it and highlight that, and I look forward to continuing this chat in due course. Yeah, we are over 45 minutes. We've not even got to kits, Jonny. Yeah, you're absolutely right. To be honest, like, I think kits will be 15 minutes, and then we'll be good to go to Patreon where we can rant about the Rugby Championship. So if anybody wants to join us for ranting about the Rugby Championship, please sign up to patreon.com/Scottish Rugby Blog. You can, or Scottish Rugby Podcast. You can come and join us for that. But let's talk about, with pre-season has come the reveal of the new kits. I, for one, kind of like them. Not in totality.
I like
But
both the home kits, not so much the away kits.
Oh, that is a very hot take, Johnny McGinty. I love that. Let's come to you about that. Talk to me.
I don't know, something about orange kits people either love or hate, and I don't like the Edinburgh one. I think the red on the Glasgow kit is completely pointless. I don't understand why it's there.
Cali Reds, mate.
Yeah, again, we did Cali Reds 2 years ago.
You done it as a
and,
training kit.
I need to stop being reminded of the fact that they killed off the Cali Reds. I know they think it's like a nice touch and tribute, right? But all it does is make everybody who was in the Cali region go, "Oh yeah, we did used to have a team." You're right.
And then you set fire to it all.
Yeah, exactly. And now you're robbing its grave for the second time in 3 years. For your kit.
Taking the shirt right off his back.
Oh, well, at least they're not releasing this one for 70 quid for charity, eh?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
I tell you what, though, the training stash is real nice.
It's funny,
I
actually.
haven't looked at the Edinburgh training stash, but the Glasgow stuff is beautiful. So is the New Scotland stuff as well, actually.
It's funny, isn't it, when the training stash comes out, because it's usually a couple of days afterwards, and it's normally guys like yourself, Johnny, that are all about that tank top that wait for the training stash.
Yep.
I think it's called a singlet. Thank you.
A singlet. It is, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's singlet.
It's a vest.
Junior XL. I think that's normally what Johnny goes for.
What have I done to deserve this today?
The same size as these Johnnies. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just going to kick myself out.
Oh, we love you, Johnny. Don't do that. I agree with you about the Edinburgh away kit. I think if you want to look like a can of Iron Brew, that's great. Iron Brew is much more popular in the west of Scotland. I'm just going to call it and maybe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe they're trying to appeal to Glasgow fans. Maybe they're trying to lure us in with their nonsense marketing. I wouldn't be surprised to see Raoul rocking up in that Edinburgh kit, talking to look at Glasgow fans bouncing up and down.
I have salt and vinegar.
Just standing in the corner of Scotstoun promoting salt and vinegar. Bless Edinburgh have had a tough night tonight, haven't they? Can't imagine why that was. But yeah, the Iron Brew kit's a bit weird. I do take your point regarding the Cali Reds, actually, Johnny. I think it's a valid thing to say that, reminding a number of fans, one of whom I know very well, who was a Cali Reds fan and has reminded me on countless occasions that she was not a Glasgow fan originally. She was originally Cali Reds. I think I've converted her now, but we'll work on it. Cali Reds, it's difficult, and it's a weird one because it's like paying as you say, it's like paying homage to someone you killed.
Yeah, I just
it's like Dolph
basically
Lundgren's necklace of ears.
It's like if Ivan Drago come out with Apollo Creed shorts on in Rocky, right? It's like that. If he came out with the America shorts on and fought Rocky with that, it's kind of like that. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm sure they don't mean it. I'm sure they are just genuinely trying to keep the memory alive, but also let it die because you killed it.
Just like your goldfish. Yeah. Right, let's come on to the home kits. Glasgow continue to so Glasgow are doing their best Ospreys impression every season, where we are progressively getting more and more Do you think they're having to pay for colour? Do you think it's like a tattoo? We're now at the stage where we're just like, oh, just give us a black kit, mate. It's fine.
And then the more stuff we can slap over the top of it, it'll be cheaper.
Yeah,
They're
well,
paying for it
that's
anyway.
it. I mean, it's classic marketing, isn't it? That everybody knows everything. As long as you put it in a white text, it goes over. It goes over black. Fine. It's brilliant. Great marketing.
The first
And it means
UFC
the sponsors have
got-
got to pay less as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Because
Like
they
if
just
you're not sublimating colour ink, you're saving money.
Well, that's it. I mean, can you imagine how much that green box cost?
Yeah.
That must have been a fortune. Ian knows. Ian's looking at that going,
I've seen the price of printer ink. You know.
Exactly. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. So, the Glasgow kit, it's smart. I agree with you, Johnny. I think it's a nice kit. It's smart. I like the black kits. I know I'm taking the piss out of the movie, but I like them. I think they're not traditionally Glasgow, though. That's the other thing. Like, there's not really much blue in there.
No, and it looks very much like the same one about 3 years ago. No, 3
I think
kits
you
ago.
mean last year,
the
buddy.
last one I bought, well, they all look the same, but
Aye.
they
have all looked.
They be trimmed in the bottom of the sleeve.
Aye.
That's
Well, it's
all it's
interesting, isn't it? That they've went tartan, the Glasgow tartan trim. You've got Scotland throwing a wee bit of tartan in there, but not too much as well. It's like we just need to make up our minds and commit to the tartan or not. It's not going to sell more kilts, boys. Glasgow tartan's nice, but you're not going to sell more kilts.
It's a bit
Johnny,
garish for a full kilt.
Johnny, you looked like you wanted to slam the Glasgow kit there. Come on.
No, I like it. The home kit I like. The I'm not going to call it a wee kit. They called it a wee kit. The change.
Yeah,
kit.
that annoyed me. I got a wee bit
like...
rugby laws, rugby values, but that.
Yeah.
I was like, no, it's an alternate kit. It's not a wee kit. Thank you.
The other thing, and we talked about this. I was on with Rock and Roll last night, and we talked about this, and I'm going to mention it again. Why do rugby kits need an origin story?
Yeah,
like see when they're launching kits, they're like, "Oh, this kit is inspired by the rat-infested high-rises of Glasgow. It brings in our tenacity and our
the bin strikes of 1974."
Like, stop it! Just say, "Here's our new kit." It's not a superhero, mate. It's a rugby top.
Well, speaking of bin strikes, let's move over to the other side and talk about their home kit, which is clearly inspired by 1997 Airdrie Football Club.
There used to be Umbro goalie tops like that.
Oh, they're dead yet. I'm pretty sure I had a shell suit that looked just like that.
Because this is a case in point. Did Edinburgh not say it's the Bridges? One of them's the Bridges.
Did they?
I think so.
That is garbage.
What? I'm looking at it now. Like, what?
They are lying to you people.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like they say this stuff and it doesn't even make any sense.
That is lies. No, that is right. So those of you that have not seen the Edinburgh kit, go and Google it just now. But it is literally a blue top with triangles, and they are triangles in a diamond formation throughout the top. That is not a bridge, and if it is a bridge, it's underwater, and you've got a problem.
I think it's like this is the interconnecting bridges at Waverley train station, which go everywhere, and then the signs point you to platforms 14 to 17 this way, platforms 17 to 19 this way. Like, where's platform 17? I don't know.
I tell you what, as well though, like they've obviously ran out their budget for orange with the away strip, because there isn't much burnt orange on their home top, is there? There's just a wee trim.
I'm looking through the Edinburgh Twitter to see if I could find this nonsense, and this is literally the first I've learned of their new big signing being out until October. Did you know that? Excuse me, Wes Houston, yeah.
Is it out till October? Why?
Mm-hmm.
What's he done?
A calf injury.
Oh man, I wish Manson was here.
You did a really good job of remaining impartial, by the way.
Absolutely not. No, I'm far beyond that. We're 56 minutes in. Can we stop listening? Half an hour ago. No. Yeah, I mean the Edinburgh kit, the home kit, it's nice, right? It's a nice top. I really don't think it benefits from having the diamonds on it. If it was just a plain blue top, I would kind of like it.
It's a bit like Man United away kit in '92. The blue one.
Let's.
So
I
I'm
think
getting
I
off
know.
football, bit nostalgic.
Let's have a look at that
It's
just now.
alright. I don't mind it. Obviously, I wouldn't
have
wear it. But
No, I mean that's it. That's obviously we wouldn't wear it. Let's have a week. No, I don't know. Oh, it's hard to find Man United kits. Oh, there it is. You're absolutely right. What's that? Classic shirts. Oh, stop it. 1990 to 92 away shirt. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Apparently, you can buy that for £239 on classic shirts if you so
wow.
desire.
I hope
Ian.
that's signed by Mark Hughes or something.
I'm pretty sure that's signed by nobody. That is
Fair enough.
Lucha.
And
Yeah,
I don't want to
so-
support Man United.
home kits. Obviously expensive as always. We often remind you at this point, like, do not feel obligated to go and buy the most recent kits. They
Especially
no
because
one
a number of them will end up in landfill.
exactly,
don't
and
want
no
that.
one will judge you. You can go along to a stadium, and no one will be
There you
any
go.
the wiser.
Retro fashion.
Inspired by the city and the iconic Queensferry crossing. Pre-order now.
Oh, shut up! That is nonsense.
I can't even work out which
I
was
would-
meant to be inspired by the Queensferry crossing. Like, is the orange one because it looks like the workies that built it?
Is it the orange one?
I don't know.
No, I mean, like, maybe it is the triangles.
Edinburgh
On-
site's been afflicted by the same thing as the
It
Scotland site,
has,
so
yeah, it's
I can't even read
magnificent.
it.
I couldn't go on it. It's brilliant. I mean, yeah, it's not the best.
There you
kit.
go. Listen to this absolute nonsense.
Go for it. Tell us.
Nonsense. And I'll have to say this isn't my anti-Edinburgh bias because I guarantee that Glasgow says the same. Let me just read you 2 paragraphs, right? The new home kit is inspired by and pays homage to the iconic Queensferry crossing, which connects the Lothians to Fife in a nod to the club's city and wider regional fan base. You do not speak for me, Edinburgh Rugby, because I do not support it. Paragraph number 2, the bold alternate kit, at least they said alternate and not away. The bold alternate kit focuses on the club's burnt orange colours, which takes inspiration from the capital city's volcanic origins. Get out. What a load of absolute nonsense.
All right, Pompey, Camden. Yeah, so I'm just like comparing the kit to the Queensferry crossing. No.
Also, how is it the iconic Queensferry crossing? Because isn't Queensferry crossing the new one?
Yeah, it's about 12 minutes old. It's kind of
Yeah, it's
Iconic
been
like the
iconic for,
Kardashians.
6.5 years.
you know, it's about the same age as Edinburgh's current branding, so you know they're probably bedfellows. I quite enjoy going over the Queensferry crossing because then I'm like into the Sea Life Centre, but then I'm kind of like in Edinburgh and I get to like be like, oh, Secret Squirrel John's in Edinburgh, Agent Anderson reporting. It's good fun. But anywho, we have waffled enough. That is an hour. You have got your fill of this freemium content. If you so desire to come and join us for Patreon, where we will have a wee sweary about some of the nonsense that has tickled us over the last wee while, come and join us. It'll be good. But otherwise, it has been an absolute pleasure. It is good night from me. Good night. Oh,
Just
Johnny.
very quickly, the All Black home shirt pays homage again to the club's history to mark the 150th anniversary of Glasgow District Rugby Union, the amateur team from which the Glasgow Warriors fans know and love today was formed in the 1990s.
They've got they've got like the letters on it, haven't they? They've had them for a wee while.
A striking new away shirt. They've put away in bold, Ian. A striking new away shirt is also
Turn the kettle off, Johnny.
by a famous era in the club's history, recalling the Glasgow Caledonians side of the late 1990s. How dare you pretend that that's Glasgow's history?
Well, we were on outros at that point. So good night. It's goodbye from me, Ian. Goodbye from Johnny. Those of you on Patreon, you will be back. Come and join us for this. This has got legs.
And when we return next week, Johnny will be an Edinburgh fan.
Right. I